Can you please shed some light on what the opportunities are for agriculture in a state like Western Australia, which of course is a massive land area, but we do a lot of farming here?
Lisa, what we're talking about here isn't an end to farming. It's just different types of farming. In this particular case, we happen to require sugar, right? That sugar can come from a variety of sources. It can come from cane, it can come from corn, it can come from beets, it can come from even potatoes and rice. There's lots of different types of farmed agricultural inputs that go into this. But we should not presume that agriculture will always be conducted the way it is today. Today's farming practices are very different from 100 years ago, and 100 years from now, they're going to be very different from today. 100 years ago, one of the biggest crops in America was tobacco. And people don't really smoke that much anymore, right? Like we had campaigns that ended up creating a precipitous drop in tobacco use in the country. That doesn't mean that people who grew tobacco went out of business. Many of them shifted to other crops that were more in demand. In fact, really, in my view, entertainingly, the Wall Street Journal had an article about how, this is about a little bit over a decade ago, the Wall Street Journal wrote an article about how many of the farmers that had been growing tobacco switched to growing chickpeas because in the early 2010s, hummus demand was really rising in the United States. Before 2010, there wasn't a lot of demand for hummus in the United States. And now it's an extremely popular thing that people have with really high levels of household penetration. And so, somebody had to grow those chickpeas. And it turned out a lot of those former tobacco growers switched to it. We used to use different products than we do today. In America, we used to have a huge number of sheep for wool production. Now it's very little because we have other types of preferable materials that people enjoy more and that are cheaper. So anyway, lots of things change. But in this particular case, everybody's talking about ending farming. In fact, if you look at the Beyond Burger, somebody's got to grow all those peas, right? It's made from yellow peas. So somebody's got to grow all those peas for them. I mean, obviously, it's going to be farmers.
Thank you, Paul. I have a final question for you, which I hope you appreciate the context. If you were to be granted a superpower to make a change to the global world's food system to ensure sustainability of not just of humanity, but of animals and the planet, can you tell me what that change would be?
I think that I might change human preferences to really love things like lentils, right? So, the problem is like people really want meat, right? If you have most people's favorite choice between having a burger and lentil soup, 9 out of 10 people are going to choose the burger, right? Because for millions of years, humans evolved to really desire meat. And that is a problem for the planet, it's a problem for public health, and it's a problem for animal welfare. And so I wish that people were content to just eat things like lentil soup and bean and rice burritos and other things, which frankly, I know a lot of people like eating them. I like eating them. It's great. But these are generally perceived as the diets of nations that are underdeveloped, right? So if you look at countries that have people escaping poverty right now, countries like China, India, Brazil, where hundreds of millions of people have escaped poverty and joined the middle class, obviously that's fantastic. We want people to escape poverty. But one of the side effects is much, much higher environmental footprint, including much higher meat demand. And so if we could enjoy the benefits of modernity from having a high energy lifestyle with renewable energy, right? So we can have the things that we like air conditioning and other things that in the developed world we like, and enjoy the diet that humanity has subsisted on for a long time, which was, maybe not entirely plant-based, but a lot of things like lentils and bean and rice and beans and vegetables and so on. I think that would be pretty fantastic. However, I'm now realizing that the superpower to which you have generously granted me, I appreciate that, Risa, would require maybe some type of change in human biology. So I'm going to go a little bit lower down on my list of requests here and also say I would probably internalize the cost of meat production. So we have enormous public support, public dollars support from federal and state governments around the world to keep the price of meat low. And it would be preferable if the better options were actually less expensive. Just in the same way that solar and wind, you can be cheaper than oil and coal in order to support a transition to renewables. the alternative meats to be less expensive than the animal-based meats. So those are some of the things that I would recommend. And of course, also support for creation of biomanufacturing. So whether it's in Queensland or somewhere else, governments should be supporting the creation of biomanufacturing facilities that can create the foods like what we at the Better Meat Co are doing. So those are a few of my wish lists, and I'm so grateful for the powers which you have granted me. It's very generous of you.
Paul, thank you so much. I think we can all agree that it's a very exciting future. It's just waiting for us, but we actually have to reach out and take hold of it. And that's scary. Everyone knows change is scary. Change on the level that we're talking about is incredibly challenging. I can't wait to see those products that you're producing available in Western Australia. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I'll tell you one final parting thought. Everybody hates change, but everybody loves innovation.